All right. Yo, what's going on, you guys? It's your boy 360 Stacks and his thing, baby, representing TKOG. And I'm actually going to be taking a crack at the SWORDSOUL board now with my SHADDOLL list. So currently I'm running invoked branded SHADDOLLs. I guess you could call it invoked Albaz SHADDOLLs. More or less AIDS, because Albaz invoked dolls. I'm not going to lie, that's probably the best name for it. I'm not playing like Despia stuff. I'm not playing Dogmaticas anymore. I actually am just playing, a supplemental branded engine in place of the Dogmatica cards because I think it's just a little bit more valuable with less bricks and a higher ceiling. And it gives me like a better starter. Like Nadir can be a SHADDOLL starter too, but Branded Fusion gives you immediate value that allows you to also continue progressing your game state at the same turn. Versus like Nadir, which is still good, but you just kind of got to wait a little bit. And sometimes you need a card that can just give you that push, and Branded Fusion is just arguably just as good as SHADDOLL Fusion in this deck. So the board in question that I'm going to be taking a crack at is going to be Baron to Floor, so this is a proxy, Chi-Xiao, Blackout, plus a hand trap, and then we'll move up to 2 hand traps with the same board. We're just going to kind of keep making it harder to break, but for right now, we're just going to start off with Imperm, Chi-Xiao, Blackout, Baron to Floor, and we break that, then we'll go up to Imperm Ash, plus these same 3 interruptions. I'm going to check my lighting and angle real fast before I continue, because normally it's brighter than this. Let me see. Yeah, there we go. I was going to say, normally the ring is brighter, and as long as the angle's good, yeah, it's fine. So let's do it. All right, so don't forget Baron Proxy. We'll just pretend one of these cards is the Imperm. Power shuffled real good. And let's get it started. Oh yeah, and before we start, if you guys like this kind of content, make sure that you are subscribed. And if you are subscribed, make sure that you click the notification bell and leave a like if you like the video. It actually, I'm learning more about the algorithm, and it actually does help. Liking and commenting really helps me a lot more than you guys think, and I'm just learning more as I go. It's crazy. Like, you can do something for so long and still know so little. But yeah, definitely leave a like and a comment. It really helps me out a lot. Make sure that if you guys want to support me, that you always check the description box. There's always links to my Discord and also my Patreon. If you guys want coaching, mentorship, stuff like that, that's a Patreon exclusive benefit. It's mutual for both of us. It's like a help me and help you situation. Definitely check that out, you guys. So let's get started. And we're just going to draw random hands. Power shuffled, so we draw Gamma, Windy, Falco, Super Poly, Schism, and Resh. Dang. Power shuffled and drew 3 1-ofs. Let's see. I mean, I know Super Poly for Construct is definitely a play. And I think I think there's a way to make this hand work. And it involves pitching Trap and Super Polying away with Windy and Chi-Xiao and going since Construct can be negated. Well, actually, no, we're playing the Chi-Xiao, so I think I would go Construct 1, Windy 2. Yeah. I think that's what I would do. Construct 1, Windy 2. And then whatever I summon off Windy, I can use Resh to flip it right away. And I gotta just see where I can go from there, because it depends. Whether or not my opponent chooses to Baron is actually what's the most important thing. So let's see. So first thing I do is set Windy and activate Super Poly, and I would pitch the Resh because I could actually use that as a combo piece and fuse away the Chi-Xiao, so that cuts off Blackout as well. And it leaves just Baron that's known and a back row that I'm unaware of, but since Imperm is a set card, I have to assume that it's an interruption. We'd summon Construct, not in the EMZ, because we don't play Gravity Controller in this build. And we would go 1 Construct, 2 Windy. I still think they could just Imperm the Construct and save Baron for something more impactful. Truthfully, like, they really can. They can save it for something that like actually threatens their board. So they're definitely Imperm the Construct, which is fine, because if they didn't have Imperm, I was just gonna use Construct to dump SHADDOLL Fusion and then construct, declare an attack on Baron, force Baron, and add fusion. And I actually don't need like to fuse from deck. I have Falco and Gamma. So the line that I was thinking was like, if that was an imperm, like the Super Poly and the Windy would clear the Chi-Shao and the Blackout, and I would go 1-2, dump fusion off 1, Windy summon anything, and then go. Ooh, that's crazy, because then I could go construct, attack Baron, force Baron to negate and destroy construct. Construct's effect add fusion, and then I would summon the dragon, and then I would use Resh to flip the dragon and target the back row and bounce it to hand if they hadn't used it at that point. And then I would just Shaddoll fusion, and I already have Schism. So literally, like, my line that I just thought through just breaks the whole board already. It's actually like a lot easier breaking boards with Shaddolls than a lot of the other decks I do. That's why this deck's so crazy. So again, so that line actually clears the whole field, but we don't know the set's imperm. But in my mind, you know, playing through this board, how I would navigate it exactly like that. I would set the Windy, Super Poly away the Chi-Shao, construct 1, Windy 2. I would discard the Resh. It actually helps that I drew this. This brick hand is actually kind of crazy how playable it is. And that's why you shouldn't just scoop when you see hands like this. You should just play it out. Contract dump fusion. I'd probably dump L to play around Ash better, since you don't really need Shaddoll fusion specifically. Yeah, so I would dump L Shaddoll fusion to play around Ash. And then, yeah, so we fuse away the Chi-Shao, Windy summon Dragon, and then we would attack the Baron, force it, pop, add the L Shaddoll fusion, and then use Resh to flip. I actually think summoning Ariel will be better, because that back row, we don't have to actually bounce it with Dragon. We can just flip the Ariel, and if it is an actual good back row, it'll negate the Ariel. But if it's a bluff, I can just bring back Construct and keep playing. So that's actually insane. That's really insane. So we're still doing this line. We're going to commit to it, because we don't know what the face down is, but they are just going to imperm the Construct. And so what's going to have to happen now is Windy is going to go ahead and bring out because we basically, like, we don't have to like OTK, we have Schism, so we can lock them out with Winda, but what we need to do is summon. I actually highly doubt they would negate Beast. I think they would still hold their Baron for something that threatens them. Because they have to play around fusion. Like, they just have to. They literally have to respect a fusion spell. So, since the back row is imperm and it was flipped, I don't have to commit to the aerial play. I can actually just summon Beast. And then go Windy, banish. Flip the Beast draw 2. You shouldn't negate this. You should hold your negate for what threatens you. So let me shuffle real good, and hopefully I draw something good, you know, something that's like gonna change the game. So we'll draw Branded Fusion and Alistair. That's kind of cracked, yo. That's actually insane how good that is. I'm still gonna keep Gamma in hand so I can have a light to fusion with, and I'll go ahead and discard Falco, and I'll go activate Falco's effect. The advantage is already coming in. I know this Branded Fusion is going to get negated, but I have to force this Baron, his face-up negate, you know, because I really just need to be able to play with Schism on my opponent's turn. So I would activate Branded Fusion. That would get negated by Baron. And basically, all they have is just a Baron and a dead Blackout. So I didn't like break the board in theory, but you know, Schism. I still end on Schism with the full field, so we don't really know how that duel would go, but I do know that I played through all the interruptions, and that's what really matters the most, and that's what I want you guys to primarily focus on with these test hands and like these break a board rec shops, is not necessarily like break the board OTK, but can you play through all the interruptions and still have follow-up for yourself and interactions on your opponent's turn? And the answer to all those questions was yes for hand number 1. So that's definitely a W for Shaddolls, because the only way they would out the Winda Actually, there is a way. There is a world where they just summon any worm, and then anytime I schism, you know, they can just blackout it. So it kind of depends how that hand would go. It really does. But I think it really does depend. It definitely depends. And depends means like what are they gonna do? But I think that it could go their way too, because they could easily Baron on standby and summon like a Moyi and just make a token, and now like they can just synchro into like anything that's promising for them, and my schism will either be negated by Dragite or they'll like have priority so they get the first action and they can just synchro into anything, and the Winda's not gonna really do that much for me because they could easily just like make Baxia or you know anything, and that's excluding the fact that they still have Blackout. So actually I'm pretty sure they would probably win, you know. So I think I'd probably still lose that duel if I'd be realistic. So same setup, Imperm, Baron, Blackout, Chijao. We're drawing L, Windy, Talent, Branded Fusion, Aerial, Squamata. Definitely, this hand is good enough. Let's see. I would activate Branded Fusion to check for Ash, because then Talents can what would I trade with? Because if I activate Branded Fusion to check for Ash, you know, it's important. You have to check for Ash regardless, because Ash is just the highest impact hand trap against this deck, ironically. The other hand traps are way easier to play through. You have to check for Ash, because if they Ash, then afterwards you can go El SHADDOLL Fusion, and El SHADDOLL Fusion is going to be able to force out... I'd probably force out the Baron, because Chijao, let's just face it, it's not going to do much to this deck. I would go into Squamata Windy, and I would go into Opcolone, and I would use Windy to special summon out probably something that pressures their board like a dragon, or even a hedgehog, and then I would use Squamata to dump the trap. Use a trap to flip either the hedgehog or the dragon, and it just depends what they want to do, because there's actually a way where I can just crack through all of it. I don't know they have Imperm, but just this right here, if I... Branded Fusion has to be played first to check for Ash no matter what, because that'll not only check for Ash, but it'll turn Talents on, which makes this easier to navigate. Because I know I could Opcolone, Perm Negate on the Baron, which means Opcolone more than likely is going to force Chijao, and then the Windy and the Squamata will set up Hedgehog, which will be flipped, which will then force Baron, whether or not they negate the Hedgehog or the SHADDOLL Fusion, and that's if they have Ash on Branded Fusion. So my hand forces all of them, but the other thing is, I think before I flip the Hog, after I Opcolone to negate the Chijao and send, you know, Windy, Squamata, and do Trap, Summon, Hedgehog, I think what I need to do after is immediately Talents to force the Baron, and then flip the Hedgehog, and then activate SHADDOLL Fusion, and I'm pretty sure I'm just in the driver's seat after that. So that's how this hand should be played. So I would activate Branded Fusion. They don't actually have Ash in this hand. This is Baron, Chijao, Blackout, Imperm. They have to Baron Branded Fusion, unfortunately. There's just too much value off of this one card. Way too much. Because even if I, like, let's say, because they don't know what I'm playing. So if I summon Lubellion and I send Tragedy, if they Chijao Lubellion, I still add the Owlbear, which means I just summon Owlbear, and then they have to Imperm it. So you lose too many interruptions by holding your Baron. So you have to negate Branded Fusion. There's no world where you just let the card resolve. And with that negated, it makes it a lot easier to navigate this board, because they don't have Ash, because they would have Ashed this, because it's better, because it plays around another copy. I think I have enough resources. Like, I can clear Chijao willy-nilly. I'm not really worried about that. Nor am I worried about Blackout. It doesn't really hurt this deck. Talents draw 2 is good. But I also feel like just having enough resources, you know, like I have enough. So I don't think I want to be greedy with this. I think I would I think I want talents take Baron, pop Chi-Shao, force Chi-Shao, force Chi-Shao's negate, and then just use the Baron to negate. Oh yeah, I still remember I have to research that ruling, whether or not if you take Baron with talents, if you can use his effect to negate now, because you know whenever you take a card it becomes a fresh copy. But since I'm still not unsure on that, just to play it safe, I'm just gonna take all their interruptions. I'm just gonna activate talents to take, and this is actually gonna give me a light for construct, which is actually insane. It's actually very, very insane. And then I don't need Op Cologne anymore because you don't really need the perm negate, and you get a little bit more mileage out of construct anyways, because she's also gonna clear the Baron with her attack. So yeah, I would go with talents to take. They would flip the Chi-Shao just to get something banished real quick. I'll take the Chi-Shao, cut off Blackout Chi-Shao. Talents is just a cracked card. On res, I'd activate L. I don't think I summon Op Cologne now, to be honest. I might put a Gravity Controller in here now. I don't always open Brand Infusion. I feel like it's just important to have that utility. But I know for sure that I want to send Squamata to make the construct, so if they have like a hand trap for construct, I still get her effect through Squamata, if that makes sense. So I would definitely fuse that away and summon construct. And then I would go Cons 1, Squam 2, then flip Imperm on the construct. And then we would resolve Squamata. I drew Ariel, that's cracked. I forgot I drew Ariel. It's just what I do from now. I mean, I played through the board. I just want to give myself the best follow-up. Do I send trap, set, flip? That doesn't do anything. Squamata can now just... Yeah, I really need to start playing Gravity Controller because it just makes things a lot easier. Yeah, I think my extra deck is limiting my options. Just not playing Gravity Controller because what I can see already is just like dump Schism or anything really, and just kill the Baron with Construct's effect, and then oh no, I'm sorry, she's impermed. But just set up something and then just Gravity Controller her away and then add like another fusion so I can actually keep playing. So this is interesting. Because I do value my dolls way more. Because I don't want to like crash. I mean, I'll only take 200, so it's not that big of a deal. But it's a very similar situation where leaving the floor and the blackouts enough for like their follow-up to just kill me. So what I do here is I send the trap. Now that I think about it, this card's so crazy. So you send Resh, and then you set the Aerial, and you'll go attack the Baron, you'll take 200. So every interruption's been used. Blackout's dead. Baron's been used already, and the Imperm was flipped on Construct. Construct's gonna go ahead and target the L. So that's that. And then you're just gonna go ahead in battle phase and just, you know, just to play around Baylor. Effect, flip. You're just gonna banish this with this, and then just it's the standard combo. Summon Construct back, Construct to Foolish. And I value Schism, but we haven't resolved Windy. And I think that's just really important to get Windy in rotation to get another name. So El SHADDOLL Fusion is a little bit more flexible for me. Because having L versus Schism makes Blackout not that strong anymore. And so I think that one of the best things that we can do here is use Construct to send the Windy and then trigger Windy. And use Windy to go ahead and summon Squamata. So when we use our El SHADDOLL Fusion, we can set up whatever we need to set up depending on what situation we get put on. The Baron is a little bit of a problem, but he's already used up his negate, so the best he can do is just pop a card, which all your stuff floats anyways, so it's totally fine. And you're setting up L, so you at least have a way to play. It's just the dolls that keep overperforming here. We're not really drawing like Invoke Albaz stuff. Like the dolls are just really the strongest card in this deck. But I do see Gravity Controller just coming up a bit too much. So something that I really just think I need to do is just kind of sacrifice, because I do like playing Raijin for the Flinner matchup, and also because like against SWORDSOUL exclusively, when you normal summon Alistair and they Chi-Shao him, you can chain Super Poly and fuse away Alistair and their Baron and summon Raijin, and you literally get your invocation search, Chi-Shao misses its target, and then you can immediately Raijin on the Chi-Shao, so that like Alistair Super Poly outs Baron Blackout Chi-Shao. That's why it's like really hard to cut Raijin. But yeah, I think what I'm gonna have to do is cut this for Gravity Controller, and then cut down to one Lubellion, and just play a Link 2, like a good Link 2, like Dark. So I think those are some changes that can be made, because a Link 2, any Link 2 and Gravity Controller have been coming up a lot more than the second Lubellion, and the Artemis is exclusively for Alistair with no other fusion target. So these are coming up a lot more. So I think that that is just a change that has to be made. The more I test, the more I realize it. So let's draw the hands again. We draw SHADDOLL Fusion, we drew Squamata, El SHADDOLL Fusion. I forgot to freaking power shuffle too. Oh dang, that's cracked. And then another SHADDOLL Fusion. Oh my. Bless your heart. So we're up against Chi-Shao, Blackout, Baron, Imperm. Let's see here. We do want to check for Ash. We always want to check for Ash, especially when you have Gamma. So you would activate. It's just the SHADDOLL cards again. They just carry this deck. They're just so good. Like this deck's actually insane. This actually, I believe it or not, I believe SHADDOLLs are actually more insane going second than Despia is, including the fact that you can summon Guardian Chimera anyways with this deck. It's just insane, you guys. It's so good. SHADDOLL Fusion, that has to be met by Baron. They just literally don't have a choice. If it was Ash, even if it was Ash, they would Ash this, I would Gamma this, they would Baron the Gamma, and I would just chain El SHADDOLL Fusion while the Gamma's still in hand, and oh man, that would just be some goodies right there. Like that'd be some value. But we're just gonna Gamma the Baron, so the SHADDOLL Fusion actually is gonna resolve, you guys. This is bonkers. Funny enough, I can make a Baron with the driver and the construct. SHADDOLL Fusion is gonna resolve. I don't have lights. I have lights now, so I feel like what the SHADDOLL Fusion needs to do is address the board, which is the Chi-Shao Blackout and the face down. So, and Baron's dead. I forgot about that. So, what would happen here is we would actually just send. It sucks that we drew Dragon, because pitching Dragon is just so vital right now. Because you're not going to be able to force Blackout just yet, so you just want to go after a back row. So as neg as it might be, I'm actually going to send Dragon from hand, because I need this point of interaction before I go in with the L, because I need to clear all the interruptions before I can resolve cons. So we will go for Windy Dragon. This will check for what the back rows are, and it's gonna force Chi-Shao. So we're dealing with the majority of the board. So we're gonna flip op, hits the board, and then we're gonna go Windy 1, Op Cologne 2. Actually, Op Cologne can always be interacted with Chi Xiao, so we might as well go Op Cologne 3, Dragon 2, targeting back row, Windy 1. And whether or not you target the Sword Soul Blackout is kind of a 50-50, so I'm not gonna be all like one-sided and just say, oh, I called it right. Let's just say I called the Imperm, because to be honest, they're more likely to use Imperm if I target it than they are the Chi Xiao. But if I target the Blackout with the Dragon, because I'm forcing it either way, so let's just say they keep the Blackout. Best case scenario, they keep the Blackout. Op Cologne's targeting Chi Xiao, Dragon's targeting the Imperm. Funny enough, really I'm only clearing the Imperm because the Dragon's gonna pop an Imperm that's already being used on the Op Cologne. So like that's the best case scenario for the Sword Soul player, and they still have Blackout and I didn't target the right card. But I can just chain L and fuse off my Op Cologne and the Gamma. Do I even need Squamata to resolve? Nah, because Construct's gonna do that anyways for me, so I think I just keep Squamata in hand. So I fuse off Gamma and Op Cologne with L. Cracked card, you guys. Summon Construct. And so at this point, I think actually when I chain L, there's a good counter argument on whether or not they black out, because they really don't know the last two in my hand, so there's a high chance that they just chain Blackout and pray that my L fizzles. That could be a good point of interaction because their Chi Xiao's already gonna be negated. Their Imperm's getting flipped, and I just feel like if there's any time to Blackout, you might as well do it now, because Blackout's just not good against this deck anyways. All your stuff really floats and it doesn't get good value. It doesn't really stop interruptions. It's not really like an interruption. Like Shaddolls can always play even if they get Blackouted. So I think they would chain Blackout, and what they would probably do is target the driver and the Op Cologne and just pray that I don't have another doll in hand and see if the El Shaddol fizzles. Well, actually, I think they would target these two, so that way Op Cologne will still not be able to negate their Chi Xiao. But now I think about it, they're losing Chi Xiao anyway. So yeah, they oh man, this is big. So they're gonna pop this. This is gonna get value, or they pop these two, and this will still be negated by the Imperm, even though Chi Xiao is going bye-bye anyways. But they're not putting it in grave, so it won't get any value off of its effect. And also now I actually have to have a Shaddol monster as opposed to any random attribute. So I think the best Blackout targets are these. And this is just to kind of make El Shaddol Fusion fizzle. This is probably the best Blackout, and I think this is what I would do. You just kind of have no choice. Shaddol is just really good against Sword Soul. Like I have not lost to Sword Soul playing Shaddol like ever. So that would be cleared. Op Cologne's still getting negated by Imperm, but you broke the whole board, and everything's gonna resolve backwards now. So it is a big chain link, but all that matters is that Windy is gonna be resolving in this chain link, and on a new chain you're gonna have some effects, because what you're gonna do is you're gonna fuse you're forced to fuse Op Cologne and Squamata away into a window. Not really bad because they don't have a board anymore, and this deck does just lose the window unless they conveniently just have a non-effect monster without special summoning. Like they have to like normal Adhara, make token, and Vishuda it away. But this actually sets up double window, so now I think I would actually do the Windy play as well. And what I would do is I would go ahead and give myself a Hedgehog, or would I draw two? Did I normal? I did normal. So I would actually go for a draw two, because I'm gonna get Schism regardless of Op Cologne. And this is Windy, so the chain's resolving. And then in a new chain we have Op Cologne Squamata. So I think Windy should summon something that I can flip and get immediate value off of. And I think I know what that is, because I already have access to my spells and traps, so. Let's just try and see the non-engine, like the other engine, because all I've seen is dolls. So we're gonna special summon Beast, and then in a new chain, we have Apollon 1, Squamata 2. Squamata is gonna go ahead and send Resh. Apollon's gonna add Schism. Now, even if they Vishuda your first winner, they still lose. You're gonna discard Shaddol Fusion. So yeah, you win. Absolutely win from here. And then you're just gonna Resh. And I would just banish one of the expendables. You have multiple Squamata, so you can afford to. And then we would go Beast, just to see if we can draw like more engine, so our follow-up's even stronger. Because if you draw a branded fusion or an Owlister, like you next turn they're dead. We draw L, and we draw Invocation. I personally see no use for Invo right now, so I'll just pitch it. And now I have 3 points of interaction. Well, I have a Floodgate and 3 points of interaction. I have double Winda, and I have Construct if I want it. And the board's cleared. Even if they find a way to put out a Worm and like Blackout, it's not doing anything at all. So yeah, you definitely just win. Like hardcore. Dex is just, what can I say? Like all these hands, it's literally just been the dolls just overperforming, just easily breaking these boards. Like wow, what a goated deck, you guys. You guys know I love this deck, but people just be sleeping on it. Let's upgrade to Imperm Ash, Chi Zhao, Baron, Blackout. Let's make it harder because it's just getting, not to sound cocky, but it's just getting too easy for the dolls. And people really think that this is like a bad deck. Like it's crazy that people just would not, they refuse to put Shaddol monsters in their deck. Like they are bricks, they're bad cards, dude. They're just not playing them right. Like, man, one of the few decks in the game that can break virtually almost any board with just engine. Crazy. John Gamma. Oh my goodness. Oh no. This is not good news for the SWORDSOUL player here. Meltdown. Oh, I finally see Alistair. Oh yeah, it's over. So 100% Meltdown first. They might not Ash the Meltdown. They might hold Ash for Fusion, but they have to Baron this or they can't really Baron what matters. Dang, this is crazy. Meltdown just has to be negated. There's never a situation where this card stays because everything becomes so free after that. So they would have to Baron this because they probably would still want to hold Ash for Shaddol Fusion to play around a second Shaddol Fusion. And because you also can just make any random fusion, put it in grave, add this back. So you have to Ash Shaddol Fusion. You can't just negate it. Plus, if they Ash Meltdown, it's terrible. Because now, if you Ash Meltdown and Ash Shaddol Fusion, you can't Baron it. So it's 1000% correct to Baron the Meltdown. And here, we would just chain the Gamma to the Baron. And they would have to Ash the Gamma. So that Baron would successfully resolve a negating Meltdown. And the next thing that I would do is activate Shaddol Fusion is going to be very free right here. They have Imperm, Chi Zhao, Blackout left. Baron and Ash, the best interruptions are gone. Shaddol Fusion. I feel like sending Dragon is important just to check what back row. Kind of see if we can snipe Blackout. Might as well just not play into it. Because we drew Albaz, so we can actually make Mirror Jade. Because I do play Mirror Jade. I also have a chance of actually going into a Searing line. If I get Shaddol's Engraved, this can make another construct. So the Albaz can both make Mirror Jade and make more Shaddol plays for me. So yeah, because Chi Zhao is alive, just crazy. So I'm definitely gonna just force everything out. So I'm gonna go for an Op Cologne line here because I can easily get yeah, I have a light and a doll. Like, oh my goodness. Oh man, this deck's so good. I would go for Windy again, just to have a different name, and this is gonna set me up extremely well too. And we would go for, this is a 42 card main deck, by the way, if you guys are curious. It's not like 60 or anything anymore. We'd summon Op, and we we'd go. It can always be Chi Shout, so it might as well be Chainlink 3. It might as well be. And then Windy 1, Dragon 2, target random. Let's just say again, best case scenario, our opponent is just so blessed and we still didn't target the blackout. Even though in reality, there's a high chance if they have blackout imperm, it's 50-50. You know what I mean? So since it's 50-50, let's say we just target the imperm, they chain imperm. And I'm really being too nice because last time I made the 50-50 be you target the imperm. You know what I mean? So I feel like I'm just being too nice, honestly. I think I am. I really feel like I'm being too nice. But let's just give myself the worst case scenario so that I can show you guys just how cracked this deck really is. Let's say we do target the Emperor with Dragon again. And that's bad for us because what we want to do is Dragon target Blackout and Apollon negate Chijiao so that you just kill the rest of their interruptions and the unknown is just unknown, you know? But they chain Imperm, flip it on Op to protect their Chijiao because it's getting popped anyways. So the only thing that would resolve is Windy. And I'm not going to do anything to stop that. And Op will be negated, which is a big deal because he can die by battle, which allows me to actually extend a bit. Which you guys are going to see. I think I'm going to get Hedgehog. Special summon Hedgehog because I just want to get a little bit more doll plays. So it's special Hedgehog. The trap is too good to not play. Like these test hands, the traps came up every time and it's just showing you guys. Even when you draw it, it's not the end of the world. So on res, they could just blackout, but I truly believe they're going to hold blackout for something that threatens them, as well as Chijiao, because they still haven't used either one of those. And what I would do next is go... Because if I normal Albaz, it's going to get met by Chijiao, but then they can immediately on-res black out the Hedgehog and the Albaz, and I really don't have any other gas left in the tank, so I think I have to go battle, crash into Chijiao. This will die because it's negated, so don't freak out. I'll take 300, and then Op Cologne's going to resolve its effect. And... I mean, I could add Schism for guaranteed follow-up. But I want to force Chijiao. Wait, I have to think this through. I can add El Shaddol Fusion to my hand and still use Squamata to dump the trap. Yeah, that's better. Because what I'm thinking is if I grab trap, flip it, Hedgehog is going to be met by Chijiao. Then if I normal Albaz, they're just going to blackout it and it won't resolve. And I lose because I really don't have follow-up. All I did was just push through the interruptions. Now, if I add Schism, that's guaranteed follow-up. But my Hedgehog still gets Chijiao and my Albaz still gets blackouted. So I'm literally Schism in a prayer. And I feel more comfortable just adding El Shaddol Fusion, actually. And since it's in the battle phase, I can actually clear this Chijiao and force this blackout. It's kind of crazy. Because I add this, discard Shaddol Fusion, and I can think on whether or not I want to summon Construct. Because what's going to happen is Construct's going to get Chijiao in battle phase. Then she can just crash the Chijiao. And I can add back L. Which means it's going to force Blackout. Which actually means that not only does Construct... not only does that, like, clear that play, so I can't really progress the game state off that, but it also means they're just going to flip blackout and hit my Hedgehog, and I don't want them to do that, so I'm going to play it a little safe, and I think what I'm going to go ahead and do is flip the Hedgehog in main phase 2, and then force the Chijiao, and then since I have L in hand now they're getting outplayed, so I think that's the best play. That's the smartest play. So yeah, that's the best play. So main phase 2, I'm going to flip Hedgehog. They're going to be forced to Chijiao it because this can add Schism. And then I'm just going to chain El Shaddol Fusion and fuse away the Hedgehog and the Gamma. So Chijiao misses its target, so Hedgehog resolves, and I summon another Construct. Boy, oh boy, when I say broken, you guys just must think I'm over-exaggerating. So I'm going to add Schism off Hog. And then Construct's going to resolve now to probably dump. If they have Tiny's, I would have to dump Ariel just to play around Vashuda better. But Blackout's still there, you know what I mean? It is still there. What can I do about that? Like, maybe I just don't commit to the Albaz? I don't know. I know I've faked out the Chijiao and Hog resolves. I add Schism and then Separate Chain Construct. Oh, wait a minute. The L in Battle Phase played in the Blackout more, but it meant Squamata was going to resolve, Construct was going to resolve, and then I would Albaz. But I don't have a guaranteed follow-up, so that's still the issue. Yeah, that's still a problem, so we'll just Construct. Let me see what I can do here. This is not this is not a simple predicament. Meltdown was negated. If I send Beast and actually draw like a Meltdown, that'd be insane because it would force Blackout. But I also could just send something good, because when I know in a normal Albaz they're gonna black out him, and that's gonna clear Construct, and she can just add back L. So maybe I just dump something to have more fusion fodder. I mean, I have Squamata actually. I have Squamata and Schism. I think I definitely just have double window. Like I have it. I'm sorry if I'm taking my time. This is like, it's a pretty pivotal line right here. Maybe Beast, because Falco, I don't really need follow-up. I have plenty of follow-up. I have my engine already going. So if Beast can draw me something cracked, because I'm already forcing Blackout and I'm ending on Schism with L, so I'm already breaking the board basically, and I'm ending on multiple interruptions with good follow-up. But let's just see, because at this point, Beast is the only play I can think of that doesn't really, like, it can give me something that can force Blackout, or it'll give me something to have in addition to what I already have. Because I already have L and Schism no matter what. I drew Gamma. That's not that great. Actually, that's insane. I'm tripping. Gamma, you know why Gamma's really good right now? I'm tripping. Because I'm about to force Blackout on them. So I'm going to force Blackout, and I'm going to have no monsters. So I can Gamma them with Schism and L. Wow, that's actually freaking insane. I know I have to clear Chijiao because it could just negate Winda, so it has to be cleared. Squamata's good. Actually, I forgot I have to discard for Albaz, so I think Schism and L is better than like Schism Gamma, because I have two different ways to like keep playing versus one. Because if something happens to Schism, then I just can't play. So, but that Gamma play was cute. It was cute. It really was. So yeah, I'll just discard Gamma. They'll flip Blackout. Pop their own Chijiao. Separate Chain, Shaddol, Construct to add L. And then I have Schism, L, so I have two different points of interaction. Yeah. And they're left on Baron, but all I can do is pop and just force them to throw their battle phase to clear one window. And I'm okay with that, because if they throw their battle phase, I can just win. Dang, this is crazy! Not a single hand was not able to break the board. And that was with Imperm, Ash, Chijiao, Baron, Blackout. This deck is just... Stop sleeping on him. You guys, this deck is crazy! Alright, so let's reset up the board again. Let me check time real fast.